Hopefully everything works. Hopefully we are online right now. Let me check to make sure we are online. Hopefully we are online. Let me check one more thing. Ah, there we go. All right, we are online. Hopefully someone hears me, which is good. Welcome to Deep Dish Football Live, Tales from the Crypt. How you doing? AKA, my name is Coach Big Pete, AKA Peter Lionel of DeepDishFootball.com. Publisher 6. If you haven't, please follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Visit DeepDishFootball.com. And if you have any questions, please send me an email, CoachBigPeteFP@gmail.com, or leave a comment. Hopefully I can get to your comments and that. Thank you so much for letting me know that I'm live and you can hear my voice. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. All right. So, this is Coach Big Pete's Tales from the Crypt. We're going to do a little bit later, but we're going to start a little bit with Pritzker and everything else and all the BS that's happening. But first, again, this is for a fundraiser for DeepDishFootball.com. The links are in the description. Feel free to leave a donation or a tip if you like my work. We're over 20% of the goal. Be sure to check it out. It's on DeepDishFootball.com. If you scroll down, you'll see it. But we are over 20% of the goal, and we started last Saturday. Hopefully going to February 9th. If we can reach the goal even before that, that'd be awesome. But thank you guys so much for your love and support of Deep Dish Football. It's now been 5 years for me as publisher, and we're going on 6 years for Deep Dish Football. So thank you guys so much for the love and the support. Thank you guys for all the people that have donated already. It's tough times now, but thank you so much. Much appreciated. Also, if you can't donate, I completely understand. Please just help spread the word of Deep Dish Football to people. Tell them to follow Coach Big Pete on Deep Dish Football and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I'm on Tumblr too. I'm on Reddit. Follow Reddit. And I changed it from IHSA Football Nation because you know what? We're a family now. This whole Illinois high school football thing is we're a family. And that's why I changed it from nation to family. IHSA Football Family. Simple as that. And there's a lot of love going around, and hopefully we can play some football. So let's get started, shall we? Please subscribe to the YouTube channel of Coach Big Pete, Deep Dish Football. Let's get started, shall we? All right, so Pritzker. He's a pain in the ass, no doubt about that. Illinois Health Department and IHSA contact sports are okay to practice, but can't have any contact. January 27th, IHSA is supposed to release the full schedule of sports. And again, coaches' feelings to me are basically, and what Michael O'Brien of the Sun-Times said, the Chicago Sun-Times said, football's on the string, no doubt about it. And he said that there's going to be no basketball. That's what I'm hearing. There's going to be no basketball in the season. I think football, there's a good chance that we might not have football this year. And it absolutely sucks because football should have been played in the fall. No doubt about it. Football should have been played in the fall. I'm telling you that right now. And I'm pissed off that it didn't. We should have played football in the fall. No fans, no media. Just the players and the referees, put it on a webcam. That's it. But we should have played football in the fall. And I do have to apologize, and I apologize for this. I should have spoken out more that we should have played football in the fall. I think a lot of people wish they could have spoken out more. A lot of coaches, but I do understand where coaches are coming from. And there's a lot of coaches, again, if you attack a politician, you're going to get so much blowback because literally they're going to say you're against a certain political party and all this other stuff. I just do not like Pritzker's decision. I think it's a shit decision. I think what he did was absolute crap. I believed, and I think those kids should have played football. Those coaches were sanitizing the pads, everything else for those contact days. They were doing a wonderful job. Pritzker just made a shit decision. And we should have played football in the fall. I should have spoken out more. And I don't feel sorry. I do feel sorry that the coaches can't say anything because literally we live in basically a gasoline era. If you say anything political, it's like a match in the thing. And they got to be careful of their jobs, especially teachers. And I'm not surprised, and I don't blame any of the coaches because they're just trying to do their job. I do blame some of the media members that should have been more outspoken. Um, I will give props to Edgy Tim. Edgy Tim did speak up. That he gets major props for that. He did speak up for that. Um, I'm forgetting the other guy, Trost. He did a good job as well. But more media members should have spoken out, no doubt about it. But it just sucks for these kids, and especially class of 2021. If the class of 2021 gets screwed, I'm gonna do a rant video. But the class of 2021, if they get screwed, that's horrible. That's absolute horrible. You can at least put a schedule of 4 to 5 games and have these kids play football. No playoff football. I don't think there's going to be any playoff football. That's my personal feeling. Um, but just have the kids play football. This is their senior season for the class of 2021. Let them play a sport that they love. Let's play football this spring. That's all I'm saying. We got to play football this spring. But most of the coaches' feelings, most of the coaches that I talked to are pissed off about it. They're pissed off with Pritzker. They're pissed off with the IDPH, and they're especially pissed off with the IHSA. Do I blame the IHSA? No, because the IHSA, they're hurting for money too. IHSA is really hurting for money. I think they took out a loan a couple months ago, but the IHSA is hurting as well. But, and I say this again, and a coach brought it up. Coach, I'm forgetting his last name. The head coach of St. Charles East, club football, privatized football. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. It's not a bad idea, and I do believe football is going to get privatized in the coming decades. No doubt about it. Just because of insurance costs and that, it's going to be like hockey or other sports. But I do believe that there's going to be club football. I have no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen because just the sport is too expensive for some schools with equipment charges and that. Club football is going to be the way of the future, especially on the high school level. And you're going to have 1,800 clubs, 1,600 clubs. And I do believe club football within the decades we're going to have. So it sucks. But again, it's just expensive sport. Insurance costs, keeping updated with equipment. It's part of the whole deal with football. Now, and I want to say this too. I don't point fingers at anybody. I don't do anything political, and it's a smart move on my part. I don't talk about politics and that stuff and all that other crap in that. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that are building this thing up so they can further their political career, especially a certain person that's eyeing a 2028 run in the primaries. Not going to say his name, just said his name earlier, but you know who I'm talking about. And this is a big story for him. This is what he can put in the news. This is what he can put in the media. Basically, this guy is, I just don't like his decisions. I think it's absolutely BS. These kids should be playing football, but that is enough of my rant about this crap. And I just say again, I don't blame them for anything. They just are in a tough spot right now. Simple as that. Also, I wanted to talk about suicide prevention. If you know someone or you are, just remember that you are loved. There are people that care about you. If you have feelings, if you have thoughts, if you are in a dark mood, please talk to someone or someone. If you know someone, please talk to them. Ask them how their day is doing. But just let them know that you are there and that you love them. Um, there's a bunch of anti-suicide. There's a bunch of suicide prevention things on the website. I should have put the number on. I do apologize. I'll put the number on in the comments at the end of this. When the video ends, I'll put the number for suicide prevention. But if you know anybody in a dark place, or having suicidal thoughts, please, again, they are loved. People care about them, and please search on the internet for suicide prevention. But it's a huge thing right now. especially if these kids not being able to play sports. But just talk to them. And again, they're loved, you're loved, and everything else. Um, and again, that's not the way out. And seeking help only makes you stronger. So that's all I wanted to say about that. But definitely search on the internet for that. And I also, in this show, right now, I want to do a big rest in peace to Dylan Buckner of Glenbrook, Glenbrook, and Coach Larson of Phillips High School as well. We lost two great people, and thoughts and prayers are with them and their family, definitely. All right. So let's get to last thing that I want to talk about till we get into the tales from the crypt. Recruiting tips. I preach Twitter. I'm going to do this every show that I do, every live show. I'm going to say this every time. Twitter, put your workout videos, put out your huddles, kids. Follow every college coach, Division III, Division II, Division I, and AIA, JUCO. Tweet out your workouts to them. Fill out every recruiting questionnaire, Division III, Division II, NAIA, Division I. Fill out those recruiting questionnaires. Showcases. There's a bunch of good showcases. Hopefully, I can make the Edgy Tim showcase this Monday on Martin Luther King's birthday, his MLK showcase. I can't. It's one of the best showcases in the state of Illinois. Boom Football, EFT are together in this, but check it out. Red Zone Prep is doing some showcases. Keep an eye out for them with Jacob Lemming and his crew. Again, please fill out those recruiting questionnaires. Send out your information. In your Twitter handle, your bio information should be your height, your weight, what class you are, your GPA, your position, your size, everything. Make sure you have that in the handle of your Twitter. And your real name, please. Please, for the love of God and everything that is holy, have your real name on Twitter. I cannot stress this enough. I've never in my life this year have seen so many recruits using fake BS names, rapper names, all that other crap, and the coaches can't find them. Please, for the love of everything that is holy, use your real name on your Twitter handle. Please, I'm begging of you. I'm literally begging of you. Please do that. Also, I am doing free, FREE, free recruiting advisement sessions. Email me at coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. I'll set one up via Zoom or phone if you have to, but they are free advisement recruiting sessions. And I talk to you, I let you know what to do, the best thing for you to get exposure and that. It is absolutely free, FREE. And remember this, and I keep saying this again, pay for recruiting services are a scam. Pay for recruiting services are a scam. Pay for recruiting services are a scam. If they charge you $40, $50, $60, $100, there's been 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It's all a scam. They're a joke. You got a lot of people pretending that they know a bunch of college coaches. Most of it is complete bullshit. None of these not high school. None of these so-called middlemen and street agents know any of the coaches. All they do is fill out the recruiting questionnaires and they make money off your pocket. They have been literally paid for recruiting services, have been stealing money from hardworking families for about 40, 50 years now. They are a complete joke. Do not pay any money. Recruiting is free. Recruiting is free. And I had a kid ask me, well, what about this recruiting service? Let me say this right now. If they're trying for you to pay for something, it's a scam. Do not pay for recruiting services. Search Brett Bielema, Jeff Franklin, Chris Creighton on YouTube. their comments about pay for recruiting services. They are a scam. Now, you have some legit recruiting services you do not pay for. You fill out the recruiting questionnaires, like a Matt Lemming, a Clint Cosgrove, a Brian Alt. Fill out those recruiting questionnaires. They will give you the best exposure, and they are free. They are free. So let me check one thing. If you guys have any comments, no more comments. Again, if you have any comments in that, please feel free to leave comments. All right. So, we talked about that. We talked about the advisement sessions. And again, if you want to, if you know anybody or have any business that wants to advertise on Deep Dish Football, Coach Big Pete's social media videos, the website, anything else, any businesses that want to feature their brand, send me an email, coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. And again, this whole broadcast is for the Deep Dish Football Fundraiser. Be sure you check it out. We're over 20% now on the goal. Check it out. It's also on deepdishfootball.com. You can either donate via PayPal anonymously or GoFundMe, the GoFundMe page as well. And I have the total. It's over 20% now. Where I wish I had the total thing, but over 20% now. Again, it goes to the upkeep and especially new computer in it. You get to see this beautiful and glorious face in HD now. But a microphone and everything else. Be sure to check it out. The Deep Dish Football Fundraiser 2021. Be sure you check it out. All right, let's get into the Tales of the Crypt. All right. So, this is my first one. And these are from decades. These are from friends that I know, college coaches and that. These are some old stories too that some college coaches might know if they're watching. But the first story is Velcro Shoes guy. Now, there was a recruit ways back who was a wide receiver, and he was probably top 20 in the United States of America wide receiver. And he was being pursued by the SEC, Big 12, Big East, all those conferences. And he was just fast, his hands, he could run the routes, his vision, his ability to break zone coverage. He was the real deal. And coaches were worried a little bit about his grades, but hey, it doesn't matter. It looks like he's got it was a 2-point-something GPA, and his test scores were good in that, and they really didn't think anything of it. Then he came in to visit the schools, and one of the schools, he came in with Velcro shoes. A second school, he came in with Velcro shoes to visit and talk to the college coaches. A third school, he came in with the Velcro shoes. And one of the coaches called in and said, hey, this guy comes in with Velcro shoes and talks to the other coach. He's like, yeah, he came to this other, he came with Velcro shoes. Other coach, yeah, he came into the house, he came into the school with Velcro shoes. Well, what's going on? So he walks into the fourth school in the Midwest. Coach finds out about the Velcro shoes, sees it's a different pair of shoes, and they ask him about Velcro. And kid tried to play it off, and the mom came up to the coach and said, he doesn't know how to tie his shoes. He refuses to learn how to tie his shoes. That's why he has Velcro shoes. Well, the kid lost some offers because it sort of gives a certain how do you say, je ne sais quoi about you to college coaches that you still don't know how to tie your shoes. And it was a little bit weird. And the kid ended up going down south to school, got some major yardage, got some good TDs, and ended up going to the NFL. And he had a pretty good NFL career. But that is the story. Tales from the Crypt of Velcro Shoes. Now, this is one of my favorite stories that I talk about since I was a publisher a couple years back. Let me get some water first. A couple of years back, I did I did a brief research of a certain class year for a position, and I was completely impressed. And I said that this was the most historic position that I have ever seen. I've talked to college coaches, Big Ten, Conference USA, and the MAC, and they said, yeah, this is one hell of a year. So, in my intuition, just talking to some of the coaches and talking to especially to some of the boosters, and again, this is a thing of boosters that they like to do. I'm going to get into another story about this, another dark tale about this. Basically, we found out a bunch of, how do you say, certain things about the families of these position players. One, dad had a gambling debt. Two, dad was abusive towards the kid. And three, a mom basically was looking towards an NFL contract with her son. And she was very strict with her son. And I went up to the positional player, and I said, basically, do you want to play football in your college season? He said, nope, I don't want to play college football. And he was an FBS type of player. He was a complete stud. FBS type of player. Well, it came out after graduation. He told the mom, I do not want to play football. So what does the mom do? After protecting him and all this other stuff, she kicks him out of the house when he has an academic scholarship to an Ivy League school. He's not playing football. So again, tales from the crypt, dark stories of recruiting. Here we go with that. I'm going to go into one of the funniest, well, not funny because I feel sorry for the family. So, a couple of years back, there was a mother and father. They had a son. The son was talented. The son was very talented. Well, guess what? The parents start getting big head. They start thinking NFL. So what do? They didn't have enough money for their son to go train at. They took a mortgage out on their house. They spent it on a personal trainer, a personal nutritionist. They spent the money to fly out the kid to Florida, California for personal training for football. They spent money with the nutritionist and all this other stuff to take his blood and to find out what he needs more in his diet. Cryotherapy. They bought a hyperbolic chamber for the kid as well to sleep in. And guess what? His senior year, he only had 4 NAIA offers, 3 Division III offers, and 1 Division II offer. At that time, they didn't tell me the amount of money that they spent, but I can tell you right now, it was a shitload of money that those parents spent on their kid, who happened to be an offensive lineman. I'm trying to make sure that no one really knows that to go into the whole story net, but he was an offensive lineman, and he was 5'11". That's right, kids, 5'11". Offensive lineman. Yeah, that common sense. When I say football common sense, I mean it recruiting common sense. When I talk about it with parents, when I talk about it with kids, recruiting common sense. Know your limits with your child. Let your child know the limits and the school possibilities that he's going to go to. Do not float dreams. Float real. Tell them real things. Do not talk about the NFL with them. It's not going to happen. I guarantee you it is not going to happen for most of the cases. 95% of the cases, 98% of the cases, the NFL is not happening for them. It's not happening. So please understand. Know your limits with your child and everything else. All right. Now we go into another Tales of the Crypt story. And this is another funny one. This is the story that I hear the most from college coaches. The fake age of a recruit. Certain recruits being 21 years old, 22, 23, 24, posing as 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, even 16-year-olds, even 15-year-olds. I've heard this story from decades from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 2000s, from the 2010s. I've heard the same type of story of a 21, 20-year-old, 19-year-old posing as a 15, 14-year-old or as a 16, 17-year-old. But the funny ones are the ones that pose like 15, 14-year-olds, and the kids straight up have a beard. They have a beard. They're able to grow a large-ass beard, basically, and they basically look like they're 25, 26 years old, and they're ready to go to a bar and have a beer. Those literally are the funniest stories that I've ever heard from college coaches, especially some college camps when a guy tries to get in, and basically the college coach goes, "What age are you?" "Oh, I'm 15. "Nah, you ain't 15. It's some of the funniest stuff. Or, "I've recruited you before. You're too old." Those are some of the funniest stories I have ever heard. Stories, Texas, Louisiana. Louisiana's got a lot of those stories. We had a couple stories in Illinois with the ages of kids that aren't kids, that actually get men, full-grown men. My favorite one is there was a guy, he was 21. He was posing as a 16-year-old, and this is a story I heard when I was coaching back at Westmont, posing as a 16-year-old, but he already had 2 kids, and again, full bearded thing, all tatted up, literally, looks like a, basically looks like a grown man, and it's funny. It literally is the funniest thing, but again, Tales from the Crypt of recruiting. That is one of the funniest things that you will hear. My favorite thing is I'd like to tell the Tales of the Crypt and going into stories are the scouts in the bleachers that don't have any. They have 0 college logos on, but the people that pretend to be scouts that wear school logos on their hats, and the parents are literally kissing their ass with these guys. They're not scouts. They're none of that. They're not scouting for a friend that's a college coach. They just have a college hat, and these parents go up to the coaches and say, "Oh, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Where you from? Blah, 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 blah." The parents have no idea that these guys are not linked to any college coaches or schools. Now, when I talk about respect and everything else, and I talk about people that that aren't there for the spotlight, that don't take credit for helping kids, I talk about the owls. I talk about the owls in the stands for games, and they're a bunch of old dudes. They come to the games and they scout for their friends that happen to be in college coaching, college head coaching act. And literally, it's happened numerous times where a guy would come in with, someone will say, "Yeah, the school's going to be checking you out, blah, blah, blah." This guy comes in with a logo on his hat, and basically, like, "Oh, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah." The guy's not even a scout, but the guy upstairs in the stands drinking coffee from a thermostat or drinking coffee with a piece of paper. He's the actual scout that's helping out his friend, the head coach of that college football team. It is literally the funniest thing ever. The parents, the best story that I heard was one of the parents out of Chicago, very, very wealthy parents, took a guy out to dinner to a very famous steakhouse after a game. Got the steakhouse to open up a little bit later for them, to still stay open for a little bit later. Wine and dine him, and then at the end, finally realized that the guy was not a scout. That the guy literally was just a regular guy watching high school football. It is literally the funniest shit you will ever see. And I apologize for swearing, but it is absolutely effing hilarious. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that literally the parents go and think that the guy with the college hat is the scout. Most of the college scouts that are scouting for friends of college football coaches and that, they don't wear hats. They don't have a school name on their t-shirt. They're usually up in the bleachers. They're up in the right corner, the left corner, or up by the press box. And they're saying nothing. They're doing nothing. They're just taking notes, and they're drinking coffee or pop or whatever. But they are the quietest people in the world. And I call them the owls because all they're doing is watching. And they're watching your players. And I've heard a bunch of stories from the owls of kids not thinking no one's scouting them, but literally they can see the behavior of the kids cursing at their coach. There were some kids that have sworn at the fans of the team, and the owls will see it and they will go back to the college coaches, and it's the funniest thing in the world. But again, no real scout that goes in the crowd that's part of the crowd wears his team logo on his hat. Most of them don't. There's some college coaches that go up in the bleachers, no problem with them. But I'm talking about straight up the owls. They don't wear any of that crap. And some of the owls that I know that have been scouting, especially in the Chicago Catholic League and all other stuff, they don't do any of that. They don't wear their team's hat or any of that. They're the quietest people in the world because they're scouting for a friend of a football coach. They're sending out information. They're texting and all that other BS. So please understand that. And it's pretty funny. It was pretty funny with the story with the steakhouse because that I couldn't stop laughing when I heard that. It was absolutely funny. Let's see. What's another one? We talk about college hostesses. That's another Tales of the Crip story I don't really want to get into. Just know that there's a lot of funny stories involving college hostesses. Those are the girls that are asked by college football teams to intrigue the recruit. I think that's going to be stopping pretty soon. What else? What else is there? I got a bunch of the stories right now. NFL scouting cards. That's some of the best. High school coaches are sent cards if there's a recruit. I'm sorry, if their player that they formerly coached at college is getting looked by a high school team, they fill out like a character card and everything else, and they ask questions about the kid. I find it, I find it absolutely funny when, especially NFL future draftees are investigated by private investigators, and then the cards are sent to high school coaches, and you've had some kids literally tell the high school coaches, you know what, I'm a college star right now. Go F yourself, blah, 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 blah. It's your fault that I could have gotten a bigger scholarship in that. And literally, all the high school coach has to do is said, yeah, he told me to go told me to go F myself, blah, blah, blah. He was late to a bunch of practices, missing school. That's a huge thing now, by the way. I wish I could have more time to talk about it, but literally, missing school, missing 45, 65 days of school is going to hurt you. It's definitely going to hurt your recruiting status. Please go to school. I beg of you to go to school. I have seen recruits go from Division I FBS to Division II to JUCO. I've seen a lot of them go to JUCO basically because they did not attend school. Please, for the love of God, attend school, get those grades, and get those test scores. I talked about paying money to the middle agent. I felt sorry for the family when she took a mortgage out on her house. I've heard a total of probably 14, 15 stories of mortgages out on the house. 2 in Illinois, a lot on the West Coast, and a lot on the East Coast as well. from my friends in the Pac-12. Um, Father gambling, that's a big no-no. Especially if the dad owns Johnny Bag of Donuts, 5, 6, 7, 12K, and his son's playing in a college game, and he tells him to knock it down a few points. Guess what? Because Johnny Bag of Donuts is going to break his effing legs, and guess what? That's not good for a college coach. So literally, when you talk about parents and gambling, that scares a lot of college coaches. Because they're taking the slide, they're cutting the points. Simple as that. That's one thing that scares a lot of college coaches. I talked about the fake age of recruits. Um, uh, there was one good one. Oh, I'm trying to figure what I wrote. Oh, I like this one. This is the Tales of Crip story. This is a good story. So there was a recruit 10 years ago. It was, no, I was older than him. Yeah, no, I was older than him. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm sorry, 20 years ago. There was a recruit, literally, top recruit in United States, had every major FBS school looking at him, had about 14 FBS offers, Alabama, Miami, USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, and all this other stuff. So the kid goes on his official visits. Each official visit, he literally had made a complete ass out of himself. Whether it be pulling fire alarms, smoking dope in front of a coach, swearing in front of the coaches, just everything you can think about. This guy did it. He did it. He got in some trouble with some hostesses, all this other stuff. And literally his high school coach was like, listen, do not mess this up. Do not mess this up. Do not mess this up. Last official visit he goes to. They went on a tour, talked to the coaches. That night, I'm not going to say it, the dumbass literally set his hotel room on fire. He set his hotel room on fire and literally messed up his whole career. And if he wouldn't have done any of that stuff, he would be in the NFL right now. He would be we'd be talking about him in the sentence of the top 100 NFL players. But he chose the wrong route. And a lot of recruits do it. There's a lot of dark stories about recruits messing up their chances. It's horrible. Talked about that. Talked about that story. The hot dish story. So, as you know, Thursday, Friday night, if there's a game on Saturday, or Wednesday night is usually dinner night. Family style dinners for teams. And we had a couple few, there was a couple few instances where there have been fights with mothers because the mom that wanted to piss off the other mom got the right hot dish and all this other stuff. So this is a story that I know because it was told to me by a former assistant coach. The mom was angry at another mom. The mom wanted to get back at the other mom. So the mom made the same hot dish as the other mom, and she knew that she was bringing the same hot dish just to piss off the other mom. The mother that was trying to piss off the mother had a continuous history of being just an absolute pain in the ass with coaches, and the son was very talented, and he was a great kid, nice kid, and all the other stuff. The mom brings the hot dish in. The other mom says, "What the hell are you doing? This is the same thing. You knew what I was bringing." The other mom, the asshole mom, I'm sorry, I apologize, decides to cold cock the other mom, and they start a little brawl. That information gets back to college coaches. The kid was going to get offered 2 FCS offers. It got yanked from him. Not yanked from because he didn't know about the offers, but literally he lost 2 offers because of the mom, because it was well known that the mom was basically a piece of shit. She had burner Twitter accounts, starting shit with other recruits. She was absolutely on messages boards talking crap about other recruits. She was absolutely horrible. Satan incarnate herself. So, again, another Tales from the Crip story. And again, everything you do as a parent now is magnified. And college coaches do look at it. And that's one of the Tales of Crip stories that I wanted to get to. A lot of parents ruin their kids' chances of being recruited. A lot of parents. A lot of stupid parents. Recruiting publishers, 24/7, rivals.com, national preps. I love Prep Red Zone. Prep Red Zone is one to watch. I love that. I love that place. Jacob Lemming's doing a great job. But there was a big thing, especially on the West Coast, where college teams would pay a recruiting publisher for stars and rankings. And this was well known throughout the college coaching thing. So when I talk about college stars not being that much, college stars don't mean crap. And I say this again to you guys. Literally, basically, it's a writer following a kid, and the kid gets an offer. Well, he's 2 stars then. He got offered by Ohio State. That's 3 stars. I'm going to put that down. He's 3 stars. Oh, he got offered by USC. He goes from 1 star to 4 stars. Or kid goes to school, kid commits to school, booster pays money to that writer to basically say, listen, we need a higher ranking position, give it to us, and here's some money. So let's not get all hyped up about stars and class rankings. They're all a joke. They're basically all a joke. And let's get last one, and this is the last one. So, water cooler talk, and that's a big thing, especially the big boosters. They want to flaunt their stuff Monday, Tuesday, after college football week, after college football weekend. And basically a booster that gets a booster that gets angry with his team in it, he'll spend more money on that team and he'll throw money. 80s and 90s, it was the Wild West, especially the 80s in the Southwestern Conference. Hopefully I got that the correct name. That was literally the Wild West. There literally are numerous stories of cars, women, houses, jobs being spent to get certain recruits. And the water cooler talk, literally, that started because there was a writer from the Dallas Morning News, if I'm not mistaken. It was the Dallas Morning News. He wrote a story, and he basically called it "Water Cooler Wars." It was a brilliant article. I'll put it on this video, and I'll find the writer's name because I have to. It was great. But literally, he said, and this was an article in the 1980s, this will be the future of the college football game. And it is. So if you're highly recruited, if you're big recruited in that, the boosters are going to do anything, any way to flaunt it. It's literally a pride festival with them. And it's the same boosters in the Big Ten. It's the same boosters in the Pac-12. A lot of the big-time boosters in the SEC. It's basically flaunt it. Flaunt it if you got it. And they flaunt it. And if you lose, your coach, if you're losing as a coach, you're yanked out, you're fired. See ya. And they'll get the next big name head coach. And as you see, there's big money spent. But that's one of the tales from the Crypt that I really enjoyed is the water cooler thing. And that was from a writer. And I love, if I find out a coach, that I'm talking to a coach, and he's part of the Southwestern Conference or the Big 12 Conference or the SEC Conference. And I got friends in the SEC Conference, but they weren't around at that time in the era. I love the recruiting stories about the Southwestern Conference and the South from the 80s and 90s because it's just amazing. It literally is some of the most amazing stories you will ever hear. Just the craziness, the gluttony, just of the whole situation. It's funny to me. It really is funny to me. And 1993, my brother was getting recruited by colleges and everything else, and he would have a thing of mail of all the cards and programs that he got, and I was enamored with all these colleges and trying to learn all of them and what conferences and trying to learn all the coaches' names. It was the greatest thing in the world. That's why I love recruiting so much. I love talking about recruiting, and I love talking about the schools, the traditions, and everything else. So again, quick reminder. Please fill out the recruiting questionnaire if I don't have your information. Free recruiting advisement sessions if you want. We can schedule one via Zoom, phone. Email me. My email is coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. 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 Follow Coach Big Pete, Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I will have links. I'm also going to put this video up on YouTube. Again, the Deep Dish Football fundraiser is still going at 20% of the thing. Be sure to check it out. I'll put another link on it, but they're in the description. You can see the links as well. But thank you guys so much for joining. This was a little bit of a confused live broadcast because literally the Pritzker shit was pissing me off. I'm not going to lie. Tried to choose my words closely. And there's one more thing too. One last thing. I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but I'm going to say it. If you are of a certain political party affiliation, and you feel the need because a kid says hashtag let us play, or we need to play Governor Pritzker, or puts it on Twitter, and you feel a need that it's an assault on your political party, and you need to tweet at that kid and all that other stuff, and you need to basically diss him and make fun of him on Twitter and call him a meathead and everything, and you're a grown person, you need to take a very close look at your life and say, why the F am I harassing teenagers on social media? Just that. So, please follow Coach Big Pete, Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you guys so much, and have a lovely day. And again, last time I'm going to say it. It's sad I got to keep saying it. If you know anyone in the dark spot, suicidal thoughts or anything, or you have suicidal thoughts, remember, seeking help doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. Be sure you check it out. I'm going to put the link on. I should have put the link. I'm going to put the phone number and everything else. But suicide prevention, I'm going to be posting it every time on Twitter and Facebook every day. Thank you guys so much. Have a lovely day.